Hey, so I've been on break for the past 4 days, and pretty much I've been doing absolutely nothing. um, my last video I said when I was done, I was like, oh, I need to go study. I didn't end up studying. It's okay. I totally kicked that midterms ass. But um, so as soon as midterms are over, we had our break, which is basically like the weekend plus Monday, Tuesday. Um, and because we don't get as many breaks as other schools in the area, because like other schools, like they have to have like, every fifth week or something like that, they have to have like a week-long break because they have so many kids like killing themselves. But we don't have that a lot here, so we don't get a lot of breaks. And like when we do, it'll be like a day break or like 2 days or like a long weekend or something like that. But it means that we end a lot earlier than most other schools, which is pretty nice, to be the first one home, or like, being one of the last to leave to go to school or whatever. But not complaining about breaks, just I've been on break. And so, as usual, when you don't have any homework to do and you don't have any friends on campus because everybody has gone home, which, I mean, I could have gone home, and I did go home, like, temporarily for only, like, a day, but I really wanted the time, like, to be by myself, which, is sort of a blessing and a curse because I get bored really easily, like, incredibly easy. And so having nobody around and nothing to do for 4 days sounds like it would be my personal hell. And it was kind of hellish, but I'm like, well, I could do nothing at home or I could do nothing at school. And so I figured I'd just do nothing here. I mean, I've got everything I could ever want in my little room. I've got a TV, I've got a computer, I've got my iPad. What more do I need? And so I have spent the last 4 days watching Scooby Doo movies. Yep, that's what I've been doing. I mean, I've been online looking at things that I want that I will never be able to afford because I'm a college student and I literally have like $20 to my name. But that's pretty much what I did. I watched a lot of CSI and a lot of Criminal Minds, a lot of Storage Wars, a lot of Duck Dynasty, and a lot of Scooby Doo. And one of the reasons that I've been going through this Scooby Doo kick is because Cartoon Network, I think it is, just came out with a new Scooby Doo show called Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, and the first season is up on Netflix. So the past couple of weeks when I've been going home, I've been watching it with my brother. Because the both of us are super huge Scooby Doo fans. Like, almost pathetically so Scooby Doo fans. I watched a lot of, the original Scooby Doo series, the Scooby Doo Where Are You stuff when I was a kid. It was when I was younger, but not like super young, like when they did like the specials where it was like Scooby Doo, like only on TV specials, like with Shaggy and Scooby and Scrappy, like Ghoul School, and the one where they go to the old Civil War house where there's those 3 ghosts and they talk in southern accents, and there's somebody whose last name is Beauregard. It's been a while since I've seen it. They had those, and every once in a while they had What's New Scooby Doo, which I absolutely loved, and I haven't seen every episode of that because I literally can't find it anywhere and I don't have the money to buy it. I'm really not good at the internet. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I watched it online. I have no idea how to do that. So I just end up buying everything, which is unfortunate because I don't have any money, which means that I have to wait until I have money to buy these things. But, so I have already pretty much most of the Scooby Doo movies. Not like the newer ones, but like, you know, the ones that came out, you know, between 98 and was it like 2010? You know, Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, you know, Witch's Ghost, Pirates Ahoy, Chill Out, Scooby Doo, Aloha, Scooby Doo. You get it. The ones that are sort of like from like the 2000s, basically, and a little bit of the late 90s, because I really like those. And so the reason that I was going through this kick was because I just watched this Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, which has given me a lot of opinions about Scooby-Doo, which I mean, I had a lot of them before, but this show just sort of like brought everything back up to me because they totally fucked with all the characters, and just like nothing is the same, and it just doesn't make any sense, and they've totally warped these characters from how they originally were. So today I want to talk about Scooby-Doo. I want to talk about how the characters have changed, and I want to talk about the stupid things that they've turned into, and you know, things like that. So like, basically I kind of want to go through, I don't know whether I should talk about Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated first and about how much it's upsetting me, and then just use references and examples from the old stuff to talk about, to show why I'm upset about it. Yeah, I think that's probably what I'll do. Instead of like starting at the beginning and being like, this is why I like Scooby-Doo. Everybody knows why you like Scooby-Doo. It's fucking awesome. Seriously, Scooby-Doo is the greatest thing. I mean, I love mysteries. The first chapter books that I read, you know, besides Harry Potter, were my mom's murder mysteries. So I really, really, really love, you know, like the cop type books. That the you know, the stuff where I'm trying to think of like my favorite, you know, I love Stephanie Plum books by Janet Ivanovich, if that's actually how you say it. I really like the Joe Gray murder mysteries, where Joe Gray is a cat and he's got his lady friend Dulcie, who's also a cat, and by some weird thing they learn how to talk, and they use the fact that they can understand human speech to solve mysteries, and you know, they do things like call in anonymous tips to the police, and it's really good, and stuff like that, you know, murder mysteries. And so obviously it makes sense that, you know, with my fascination for mysteries and stuff like that, I mean, Nancy Drew the Hardy Boys, I ate those up. You know, when I was really, really little, like Encyclopedia Brown and the Cam Jansen books, if you remember those, you know, Cam Jansen, who has the photographic memory, she uses that to solve crimes and stuff like that. And so, I love Scooby-Doo, you know, I love mysteries, I love, you know, that's why I like, you know, shows like CSI and Criminal Minds, is because I can be like, oh, I know who did it, and stuff like that, you know, because it's great, I love it. And so, you know, Scooby-Doo, like, I love Scooby-Doo so much, even now that I'm almost 20, I still love Scooby-Doo. And so, you know, this last 4 days, I literally watched all the Scooby-Doo movies that I own in a row, over and over and over and over again, just sort of like played it, because I've watched them so many times that a lot of time when I can't sleep, I'll put on a Scooby-Doo movie and go to sleep to the Scooby-Doo movie, because I've seen it so many times that I just need to listen to it, and I can sort of like watch it in my head, so I can like close my eyes and like relax and shit like that. I do the same thing with Scrubs. I've seen it so many times that if I watch it without sound, I know exactly what's happening. I know the music, I know the sound effects, I know the voices, I know everything, you know, and same with Scooby-Doo, you know. I can listen to it and I know what's happening, so I can go to sleep. It's not like, you know, if you leave the TV on and you've got like commercials and TV shows and stuff like that, you know, you feel compelled to open your eyes and keep watching. But, you know, with the Scooby-Doo movies, I've seen them so many times that I don't even need to I don't even need to watch them. I can just listen to them as I'm falling asleep, and it's great. And I fall asleep like halfway through the movie probably, which is great because I have a lot of trouble sleeping a lot of the time, which is unfortunate because I love sleeping, but I have a lot of trouble. Anyway, so this new show that I watched, Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated. This is back when they are still in high school. And I'm not sure if they were in high school in the original Scooby Doo, the What's New Scooby Doo. I'm not sure what age they were, because, you know, they're timeless. But in this new one, they're in high school. And, like, I know they put out, like, a few live-action movies of them in high school, not like the, what is it, it was a live-action, there were two of them with, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Buffy, and, not those, I liked those, but more recently than that, they had a couple of live-action Scooby-Doo movies that were awful. I didn't watch them because I saw commercials for them. I was like, oh, that's going to be awful. I'm not going to watch that. Which is unusual because normally I will watch anything Scooby-Doo related just so I can say, yeah, that was awful. Which is the same reason, which is the exact reason why I watched the Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. Because I knew it was awful, and I'd seen a few episodes here and there just to see what it was, but I wanted to watch it like all the way through because there's sort of like this mystery that they're solving through the whole season as they're solving their little mysteries. And so, like, I wanted to know what the bigger mystery was, which it ended up so stupid, and it left me with more questions than answers, and I don't know if they're doing a season 2 or not, but obviously if they do, I'm going to have to watch it because I have all these questions. But it's so dumb that I don't even want to know, but I have to know, you know? Ugh. Anyway, so, I was watching this TV show, and they completely destroyed these characters. They just, like, completely nothing like what they've become and nothing like what they were originally. If you look at, like, just the intro, you've got Freddy doing traps, and then Daphne fawning over a picture of Freddy, and then, you know, Velma on her computer, and then Shaggy and Scooby eating. Which is... My problem is with Daphne in that, and a little bit with Freddy. In this show, Daphne is not very smart, and very boy crazy, and very upset and concerned with Fred and how he sees her. You know, she's got a total crush on Fred, and she totally obsesses over him, which is not how it ever was. I mean, through the movies, there was some, you know, like, Daphne being like, so Fred, why do you always pair us off together? And Fred being like, there's something I need to tell you, that was a conversation that happened in Scooby Doo and the Witch's Ghost. And then, in, Scooby Doo and the Legend of the Vampire, they're in Australia at Bondi Beach, and, you know, Daphne's out there, you know, going, ooh, in her bikini, and, you know, she's got all these lifeguards fawning over her, and Fred gets, you know, all mad and red in the face, and you've got, in the Scooby-Doo in the cyber chase, you've got, Daphne, after Fred beats the lion in the Coliseum level, you've got Fred giving Daphne her jacket back, and she being like, wow, Fred, that was really brave. Or something like that. I don't remember exactly. But, like, you've got little hints to the fact that there's, like, a romance between them. But it's not something that's ever addressed. And I don't think there should be a romance between them. And I will get to that eventually. But in this show, like, pretty much that's all Daphne's about. Like, she is obsessed with Freddie. Like, the way that 12-year-old girls are obsessed with Justin Bieber. Like, she's just totally obsessed with him. And she's ditzy and she's dumb and she just, like, can't do anything and just, so not like the original Daphne. I mean, like, the original Daphne, I mean, most of them were kind of dumb. You know, you've got Daphne always, you know, standing there looking at something and then, like, the hand coming up behind her and going to grab her, but then she sees something and, like, walks forward and, like, it misses her. Or, like, Fred, you know, sitting in a chair or pulling a book out and it opening the trap door that he falls through, you know, into a secret room. Or Velma losing her glasses and feeling around going, I can't see a thing without my glasses. Oh, jinkies. And, you know, she walks in through, like, a secret tunnel or something like that, you know? But, like, this is completely not like that. And, like, through the movies, you see Daphne get totally more badass. I mean, we see her being smart, you know, in the, Aloha Scooby Doo, when they get lost in the jungle and they're like, oh, we know that we need to go north. And she's like, okay. And she gets up and she sees, you know, she uses her hair blowing in the wind to see which way the wind. She's like, well, the prevailing winds come from the north. So that means we need to go that way. And it's like, oh, wow, that's so smart. And, like, in the cyber chase, when they're like, it's during one of the montages as they're going through the levels of this game that they're in. They have to beat a samurai. Like, a samurai comes after them and totally kicks Fred's ass. And then Daphne comes with, like, this a broom thing and totally, like, floom, 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 spins it around and, like, disarms him. And he's like, okay, you win. And then what other badass things does she do? I can't think of any right now. But, like, you know, it shows her being smart and being able to not just physically fight, but, you know, outsmart people and things like that, you know? It shows her being independent, and I like that, you know? I like that Daphne's not just, like, the ditzy pretty girl, you know? Because that's sort of how it's seen, you know? Velma's the smart ugly girl and Daphne's the airheaded pretty girl. And I like that they made her a lot stronger as a character, and they gave her intelligence, and they gave her quick thinking, and they gave her this sort of martial arts type thing. Because we do see that a couple of times. We see her in on Zombie Island. We see her when a zombie comes, puts his hand on her shoulder, she flips him over judo style, and, you know, stuff like that. And I like that about her. But, you know, in this new Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, she's completely head over heels for Fred. And it's like pretty much all she is as a character is after Fred, you know? And then we've got Fred, who is the dumbest person ever. Like, all he cares about is setting traps. And it's always like, ooh, I'm a member of Trap Weekly, the magazine, and shit like that. And, like, it's just so dumb. Like, just because Fred is the one who came up with the ideas, and it wasn't always just Fred, it was Fred and Velma who came up with the ideas for traps and shit like that, and they never worked. Like, do you remember how, like, they'd set a trap, and Scooby and Shaggy would go be bait, and they'd get the ghost or the monster or whatever to chase them, and then Scooby and Shaggy would get caught in the trap, and then through some panicked hijinks after that, they would catch the bad guy. Like, that's how it worked. Fred was never like, ooh, let's set a trap. Oh, traps, 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 traps. You know? And, like, this whole thing with him being like, I'm a man, that means I don't have any feelings, except feelings for traps. And, like, I don't know, like, they pick these dumb things to focus the characters on. And, you know, so Fred is just the dumbest person ever, like, completely oblivious to everything except for traps that he's, like, this expert in, and, like, all he ever talks about is traps, and all he ever thinks about is traps. And, like, that is so dumb. And, like halfway through, he ends up dating Daphne, and then they end up getting engaged at the end, but then they break it off because the big mystery comes together, and it turns out that his dad isn't really his dad, and he was stolen from the original Mystery Inc. And yeah, apparently there was like an original Mystery Inc. that went missing like 20 years ago or 10 years ago or something like that, and like they were similar to the current Mystery Inc., the Scooby Doo gang, but instead of a dog, they had a parrot that was the brains of the operation. And so the girl that's like Velma was not the smart one, but she was like the investigator or something like that. And it's really confusing and it's really dumb. And that's not what I want to talk about. That's, if you want to know more about that, just watch the show. And then so we have Velma, who when the show starts out, she and Shaggy are secretly dating. Like episode 1 of this show, she and Shaggy are secretly dating. And the reason that they're secretly dating is because if Scooby Doo found out that they were dating, then he would be really upset. And Velma is really, really bitchy and really mean and really violent and really like, I want you all to myself and you have to pick me or Scooby, you know? And like she spends all this time like hating Scooby because Shaggy likes Scooby so much, and how come Shaggy doesn't like her like that and shit like that. And like, I'm sorry, I'm saying like a lot, I'm getting excited over this. And it's just so dumb. And she's such a bully to Shaggy. And like, it just so out of character for her. I mean, if you watch any of the movies, you see that besides Shaggy and Scooby, Velma and Scooby have the best relationship. You know, like they love each other. I mean, in Scooby Doo, Where's My Mummy? The reason that they go visit Velma in Egypt is because Scooby Doo missed her so much, and like he was so excited to see her. And then when she gets turned to stone, he and Scooby finds out, he howls until they find her again. Like he just sits there howling because he's so heartbroken. And then in this new show, you know, obviously the people creating the show have to have seen like all the other Scooby Doo stuff, and you know, you've got Velma like just being such a bitch and being such a bully to Shaggy and being such a so awful to Scooby, and like she's just totally selfish and self-centered and ugh. And then we've got Shaggy, who, I mean, I guess he's not super different. He's a lot more, he's pushed around a lot more, I think, than he is in any of the other shows. And I don't know, it's just, he's not the same, but I can't pick out what it is. And then you've got Scooby, who, I mean, when he does find out that Shaggy and Velma are dating, and they end up breaking up around the same time, like halfway through the season, around the same time that Daphne and Fred end up getting together. And one of the reasons that they break up is because after Scooby finds out that Velma and Shaggy are dating, he decides that he doesn't like Shaggy anymore because Shaggy has cheated on him. And he tries to find a new best friend and tries to make Shaggy jealous. And it ends up with Velma saying, all right, you have to pick me or Scooby. And of course Shaggy picks Scooby because it's fucking Shaggy and Scooby and nothing can come between them because they are like best friends. And so she assumes, she's like, well, I've got dumped for a dog, blah, blah, blah. And so then there's all this drama between the two of them, and then like it's just so dumb. It is so dumb. And like it's just and I think one of the things that really bothers me, besides the blatant disregard for the character growth that has happened throughout the movies and the previous movies and the previous TV shows, is the pairings. I hate how everybody's like, oh, Daphne and Freddy get together because they're the pretty ones, and Shaggy and Velma get together because They're the not as pretty ones. And Shaggy's super dumb, so Velma makes up for that. And, like, that is so not how that would work, okay? I mean, first of all, why the hell would any of them date any of them, first of all? I mean, when you're in this close group of friends for that long, I mean, obviously crushes are bound to happen, but in terms of, like, long-term relationships, I don't think it would happen. I mean, just because, I mean, maybe because of, like, all the shit they've been through, like, maybe two of them would get together, but there are other people in the world, and, I mean, we've seen, people flirt with other people on the show. I mean, you've got Fred falling head over heels for Lena, I think her name is, in Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, and you've got Velma and Prince Omar in Where's My Mummy, Velma and Ben Ravencroft in Witch's Ghost, Fred and Hex Girls. What's the lead singer Hex Girl's name? Dusk, Luna, Storm, something like that. Fred liked her in Witch's Ghost. Anyway, so, like, they have sort of, like, romantic interests, kind of, although I guess their romantic interests usually end up being bad guys. But, like, there's other people in this world. It's not just the four of them, you know? And, so that bothers me that there are those pairings. And then in terms of the actual pairings that have become canon, totally not how it would go. Fred and Daphne would not date. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry if I'm, like, crushing souls or something like that, but they wouldn't date. I mean, I don't really know exactly what sort of, like, I mean, we see Freddy's parents in Pirates Ahoy. And, you know, they're wealthy enough to buy cruise tickets for Fred and his friends. So obviously they're not, like, bad to do, but, like, if you look at the way they dress, they seem like middle class, upper middle class. And Daphne is from a very wealthy family, as is Shaggy. Shaggy and Daphne are both from very, very, very wealthy people. And a lot of people forget that Shaggy is from wealthy backgrounds because he's, you know, your typical stoner and he's always eating and blah, blah, blah. And, like, you just don't see it because he doesn't seem like he's culturally from an upper class family. But, I mean, let's not forget that his real name is Norval. And his parents are super rich, just like Daphne's parents are super rich. And so I think that in terms of, like, lifestyle, I think that, if anything, Daphne and Shaggy would end up together. Because I know that it's always, like, Fred, Velma, and Daphne teaming up, and then Scooby and Shaggy teaming up. So I think Daphne would be more likely to date somebody outside the group. But I think if she was going to date someone inside the group, I don't see her dating Fred. I'm sorry. But those two are, like, BFFs. Like, they're friends. They have, like, a bromance. They're not actually, like, I feel like a lot of the time when they're flirting, it's sort of more like teasing than anything else. Like, ooh, Fred, are you sure that you're going after Hex Girl, whatever her name is, because you think she's suspicious or because, you know, she's cute? Like, I feel like it's more of, like, the flirting is less flirting and more teasing. And then I definitely think if any two people in the group were going to date, it would be Fred and Velma. I'm sorry, but it's so true. Open your eyes. Watch the movies, people. Seriously. In Chill Out, Scooby Doo. And they're chasing the abominable snowman up in the Himalayas. They have a guide who is from there, whose name is Oh my god, I literally watched that movie today and I can't remember his name. Anyway, so they go to split up, and Fred's like, alright, me and Daphne will go, and Daphne's like, actually, Fred, I'm going with Guide over here. You can team up with Velma this time. And, instead of that being, like, something that people would see as, like, oh, she's trying to make him jealous by going with another guy, I see that as she's intentionally leaving Fred and Velma on their own, because either they have to work something out, or she knows that they like each other and she wants them to spend more time together. And the reason that I think that they would be the most likely to date is because, first of all, I don't see Velma as the smart, ugly one. I'm sorry. I think that she is quite... I mean, do you see how short her skirt is? Like, that girl is working it. Okay? And... I think that a lot of people would be put off by her intelligence. So I think it would be hard for her to find somebody outside the group. And, it's always her, Fred, and Daphne. And so, I don't see her... Shaggy is not smart enough for her. She wouldn't be able to have a conversation with him. And I know that Fred isn't the smartest either. But he's sort of... she's sort of got, like, the book smarts. And he's sort of got, like, the street smarts in terms of he's always sort of like the guy behind, these crazy booby traps they set up, and he does things like, if you look at Monster in Mexico, when they go down to Mexico, like, he's down there, like, trying to communicate with the locals in their native tongue and stuff like that, and obviously failing miserably, but still, like, he's trying. And so I feel like he would be smart enough to keep up with her, but not so smart that, like, she could still teach him things and she could still, like, be the smarter one in the relationship. And, like, I just think that they're a much better pair than, like, the two pretty people, And it just... I have a lot of feelings about Scooby Doo, as you can tell. But, like, so I was watching this show, and it's so dumb, and I can barely sit through it, but I want to know this bigger mystery, And it's so frustrating, because I have to sit through all this dumb stuff, and I'm, like, bitching at my brother, like, that is so not how Velma would really act. Oh my god, can you see Daphne right now? Like, who even is she? Like, this isn't the real Daphne. And, like, she's doing things like, oh, us dying together, that's so romantic. And I'm like, what the fuck, Daphne? Why are you waiting for Fred to save you and instead wanting him to drown himself with you? If you don't understand what I'm talking about, you're gonna have to watch the series or, like, look up the plot online or something like that. The Daphne that I know, the Daphne that has gone through all of these movies, would totally figure out how to get out of this herself by doing some cool badass trick. She'd pull a hair clip out of her hair and pick the lock, or she'd, I don't know, something awesome. She'd pull out her lipstick and use it as lubricant to get her wrists uncuffed or something like that, I could, like, the Daphne that I know would be able to get herself out of that and then get Fred out of that, instead of, sitting there waiting to drown and hoping that Fred loves her enough to drown himself with her. Are you kidding me? Like, is this the stuff that we're selling to our children now? Oh no, I'm gonna drown, but at least you have that rock there so you can drown yourself with me so we can die together. How romantic. Seriously? Is that... Velma being so obsessed with the fact that Shaggy likes a dog better than her, and trying to come between Shaggy and Scooby after all we've seen them go through together. And I know that this is supposed to be, before all that, when they're still in high school, before the movies, before the, when they're just becoming Mystery Inc. And they're supposed to act a little bit more childish. But seriously, if Daphne and Fred had been engaged in high school, and they had broken up. There's no fucking way. I'm sorry, but there's no way that they would have all of these years later, you know, when we come into Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, you know, it's like they're all split up. Velma's running a bookstore. Shaggy and Scooby are bouncing from job to job. Daphne's doing a TV segment called Coast to Coast with Daphne Blake, and Fred is her manager. If they were engaged in high school and broke up in high school from something as serious as an engagement, they would not be able to work together all these years. I'm sorry, it wouldn't happen. And it just really bothers me that, you know, this is how we're portraying these iconic characters now. You know, I mean, I know everybody's dumb in high school, and I know that. And I know that people change after high school, and they mature a lot, and, you know, through college or whatever. And did the Mystery Inc. even go to college? Because they have, in Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase, they're visiting a friend they went to high school with who's at college. I don't know, maybe he's working on, like, a doctorate or something like that. He's doing, like, more education than whatever. But, like, I don't know. It's just, I don't understand how they can be portrayed so differently than what we've grown to know and love. And even if it's a prequel, so to speak, to the original series and the older movies and stuff like that, it's just so out of character. I mean, I understand how they could be different, but not that different. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I've been ranting at you about this for 40 minutes, and this is probably going to be my longest video. Well, it's definitely is so far. But, like, it just bothers me that this is what these iconic characters are turning into, is, you know, these dumb boy crazy people who think it's, you know, romantic to die together or whatever, you know? I mean, it just bothers me. And it's just, the whole show is just so stupid. And, I mean, maybe it's because I'm a lot older now and I'm a lot more mature. But I rewatch the movies all the time, and I rewatch the TV show all the time, and I still love it just as much as I did as a kid. It's this new stuff that's been coming out the past 2-3 years that, I mean, I have this one movie that I bought called Scooby Doo and the Music of the Vampire, and it's basically a musical. And the first song is really, really good, where the Mystery Inc. is traveling to this vacation spot where they're going to go, where the movie takes place. And they're singing about how, you know, they don't want to do anything scary. They don't want to solve any mysteries, you know, that's where they're going on vacation. And it's a good song. There's lots of really cool harmonies in it, and I'm a music nerd, so I appreciate things like harmonies and, you know, a cappella stuff and the complexities and that. But the rest of it is dumb. It's so dumb. It's got Daphne fawning over some actor pretending to be a vampire, and it's got, it's just so dumb. I mean, watch it. It's hilarious. It's one of those things that's so bad it's good. You know, I watch it and I just laugh. It's just so funny because it's so bad. And I mean, the characters, it's mostly Daphne who's out of character in that. The rest of them are pretty spot on. I mean, definitely a lot more over dramatic than they normally are in that movie. But anyway, enough about Scooby-Doo. I have a headache. I need to go to bed. Classes start up again tomorrow, and I have to spend the entire day painting. My painting class is from 10 till 3. That's a lot of time painting. I'm sorry, but that's a long time. Anyway, so now you know everything I feel about Scooby-Doo. I love Scooby-Doo. I hope to one day, I have in a wish list somewhere, like, every Scooby-Doo thing that I still need to buy. I have most of the movies, but I want to buy, like, the DVDs, like, the TV shows, like the original TV show and What's New Scooby-Doo, which had 3 seasons, which I did not know they had that many episodes, because I've only seen, like, 6, which is really upsetting, because I really liked that. I really like, I really like those, because they were in a similar style and a similar, like, time as most of the movies that I have. I don't have a lot of the newer movies from, like, 2009 through today, I don't have any of those movies except Music of the Vampire. So I need to get those so that I can watch them. I mean, I've already seen all of them at least once or twice, but I don't own them, which makes me unhappy. And I'm willing to spend real money on it and not like watch it online or whatever, because I love Scooby Doo and I want to support the franchise, even if it's pretty much over, because right now it's totally shitty. So I will leave you with those thoughts of Scooby Doo. Feel free to, if you share my opinions or you disagree with me, to let me know. Let me know how you feel. Scooby Doo is awesome. I could talk about it forever. And the thing that sucks is that most of the people I talk about it with share my feelings, so it's just sort of like me lecturing them. So I would love to talk to people about Scooby Doo. I love Scooby Doo. And I have pretty much every movie memorized. So that could be fun. Alright, so I'm going to go because my head hurts and I need sleep. So hopefully I will talk to you soon if I come up with something fun to talk about and not super serious, because I need fun things right now because school is halfway over. Well, first semester is halfway over.